Welcome to another episode of the Youthful and Useful podcast by Leap Africa. My name is Joshua Olawi, and I'm here with a lovely lady who was part of the Youth Leadership Development Program 2023, and we'll be discussing something special. That's special based on the project that she was part of in the program. And I believe it's going to be insightful to you. It's going to be educating. I want you to stay tuned and enjoy the podcast. All right, so welcome back. Let me introduce, or she should introduce herself. Please introduce yourself to us. Who are you, and what should we know basically about you?
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Tiowa Hannah. A student of the Federal University of Agriculture, Makurdi, and I happen to be the deputy team lead for Dam for IDPs, Defensive Action Against Malaria for Internally Displaced Persons. And I was part of the Leadership Development Program 2023.
Okay, so to be clear, this project was part of the Youth Leadership Development Program, right?
Yeah.
That was a project that you executed in the program.
Yes.
Okay, so to put a context to it, the Youth Leadership Development Program encourages young people to identify a problem in community and then provide solution to it. So now tell us, what was the problem that your project aims to achieve or to solve?
Okay, it's no longer news that Benue State has suffered a lot due to the farmer herders crisis, and a good number of people have been displaced from their homes and are now taking refuge in the IDP camps. Maybe due to negligence or whatsoever reason, one of the IDP camp is in very bad state. And we visited the camp and saw the living condition of the people there. We interacted with the camp head, and we realized that they had challenges, and health-wise, they had challenges too. And one of the head challenge that was brought to our notice was that of the malaria outbreak. And we felt we could do something to help in our own little way. So when we got the opportunity to choose change projects that we could implement in our community, their thought came to mind, and we felt instead of going to do something else, why not settle here and do something that will help them or impact their lives rather.
Okay, so now let us know what did you do? I know having this understanding of the issues that the malaria outbreak. What was the solution that you provided?
Okay, even for people who live in their homes, you know that malaria is a big concern, and when you hear of malaria and you want to profess solutions, these are common things that are done. You can easily purchase mosquito net and give out, which is the most common way measures that people have used. Or you can decide to buy the normal mosquito sprays that we have around. Or we can decide, okay, since these people have malaria, why not give them anti-malaria drugs? But how long are you going to continue buying this and going to distribute? So we figured out a more cost-effective way to solve this problem. We realized that we could use orange peels to produce mosquito repellent that they could use at the camp at a little or zero cost. And we trained the women at the camp. We actually trained 100 women at the IDP camp on how to make and use organic mosquito repellent spray from orange peels. Yeah.
Well, I think this is very, very insightful. making mosquito repellent with orange peels. We take orange most times, and we just dispose the peel. So it's useless to us. And now you're saying that we can actually make use of it as mosquito repellent, right? This is very insightful. Where did you get the knowledge from, and how is this possible?
Okay. Well, I would like to give credit to my team leader, Team B Tedious. He actually brought up the idea, and the rest of us went back to research, and we discovered that there was actually some truth in it. So, and if you see dated back, I remember then my grandmother, I could not place my hands on some of the things she used to do back then, but we had a lot of oranges, like we still have a lot of oranges back in my village. And sometimes when we take these oranges, she will pick the peels and dry them, and we will stay out sometimes during the night to listen to moonlight stories, something like that. And she will burn these peels. We didn't really know that she was actually trying to repel mosquitoes.
Mosquito,
Yes.
wow, wow.
So when he brought up the idea, that resonated with me
Hmm.
and then the rest of us. So what we did was we went back as a team, we researched, and we sought for better methods, not to just burn the
Yeah,
peels,
I wanted to
but
speak to that. Okay.
not to just burn the peels, but to do something more innovative with it. And that is what we did.
Okay. So, would you want to share the innovation? You said instead of burning, so what's the more innovative way of actually using the orange peels for mosquito repellent?
Okay, there is, as I mentioned, there's a compound in orange peels that is actually repulsive to mosquitoes, not just mosquitoes alone, but certain insects.
Okay.
We call the compound lemonade, D lemonade. So what you do is that we extracted that from the orange peels, and then using other ingredients, we were able to produce the repellent spray.
Wow. So, but did this thing actually work? Into you did the project, and then I'm sure some people in the community used the repellent. What was their testimony like? Did they come back to you? They say, "Oh, it works," or they say, what was the feedback like?"
And the feedback, we had a great feedback, and we recorded great impact too. I took some of it home.
Okay.
When it was produced, I wanted to be sure that, okay, this actually works. And I took it home, I sprayed it in my room, and it actually worked.
Wow.
Yes, it did.
I need to give it a try also.
I wish I brought some.
Okay.
I wish I brought some, but I don't have it here. So, and even the people at the IDP camp, they've attested to the fact that it has been very effective. We went back to carry out the evaluation, and we received a lot of good feedback and testimonies from the participants, and even those who did not participate but got to use the product.
Wow. So this is really interesting. For me, I must assure you that I will try it myself
You
also.
should.
I will, because this I'm hearing for the first time. And it appears that some people already know about it over time. Like you mentioned your grandma.
Yeah.
Some people know about it and they've been using it over time. So now let me know how you actually executed it. Was it that you trained these people on how to use it, or you created the product and gave it to them, or you sold it to them? How was it like?
Okay. What we did was we actually trained them
Okay.
and how to produce this by themselves. What we did was we produced some training manuals that to guide them. The procedures are there, the step by step process, and then we went to the camp. We got the number of women. The camp have large numbers. So if you want to do this kind of thing, and you decide to use the whole number, you'll not be able to control the crowd. And we chose women because women are the ones that keep the home. And I'm
Okay.
not being
No,
biased
I'm
here.
not arguing here.
Yeah. And they pay more attention to stuff like
Okay.
this.
Yeah.
The men just go about to provide. The women are the ones that at
Okay.
home.
I don't
Yes.
want us to have this conversation today.
Yes.
So, okay, let's talk about the mosquito repellent.
Okay, so we got the women, the number of women we needed, and then we divided them into 4 groups. And we also attached group members, team members to each of the groups. So they were like the facilitators for the training. We were actually trained. We trained ourselves first.
Okay.
Yes. And then by through prototyping. And then after learning it, we grouped ourselves and then we grouped the women into 4. And we carried out the training in batches, 4 batches. And one thing is that these people at the camp, most of them, they are not educated like that. So there was a bit of a communication barrier. But still amongst them, there were people that could read and also write and could speak and could interpret to others. So in the groups that we from the 4 groups, we chose those that could actually write and read and can explain these processes to the rest to head the groups. So that even if we're not there with the manuals, those group leaders that we selected could guide the rest on how to produce.
Oh, that's interesting. That's really, really interesting. Identifying a solution to a problem, and you went to them,
Yeah.
and then you showed them how they can solve their own problem.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting. And how do you feel, providing the solution to these people, opening the eyes of many people to how they can solve their own problem? How did you feel, doing that?
I feel great. I think I and my team, we feel very excited. That not so many people get an opportunity like this to do what we've done. And we are happy, we are grateful, and we look forward to more bigger opportunities to be able to create change in our community. Yeah.
Yeah. So talking about creating change and speaking to the youth leadership development program generally, how would you really explain the concept of leadership, the concept of taking responsibility, from what you have learned from the program and how you've been able to really practice this in the society?
Okay. If you ask anyone if the person wants to be a leader, the answer is obvious. It's going to be a yes.
Are you sure?
It's obvious. It's going to be a yes.
Some people don't want to lead.
No, everybody wants to be at the head and the rest should follow. But how many people have what it takes? And that should be the question. For me, leadership it's not a right. It's just a privilege and a trust that you earn. So that is leadership for me. It's a call to serve, and through your service, you earn the people's trust, and you can influence the kind of change you want. For me, that is what leadership means to me.
So as we end this conversation, how do you what will be your charge to young people? You and your team, you've identified the problem and you have provided solution. What will be your charge to other young people, with regard to what you have done, probably to encourage them to do something like that also?
Yes. Now everybody wants to blame the government. I blame the government sometimes too. But
Do you blame
we
the
are
government
all
for mosquito?
no,
Okay.
I don't. But most of the challenges that we face, is easier to blame somebody than to take responsibility.
Hmm.
So uh, I think we are all stakeholders in this thing.
Hmm.
And if we realize that as youth, we'll be able to do our own quota
Hmm.
to see that if, we have the Nigeria that we want. Let me generalize it.
Okay.
Or we have the society that we want. I'm a stakeholder in this change that I seek. You are a stakeholder, and every other person is a stakeholder and has a role to play. So to youth out there, the earlier we realize this, the better for us. Because these little changes that we go about and we do, we see them as nothing, but actually they go a long way. If we have like 100 or 1,000 people doing this kind of things, I think we'll start seeing the change that we seek.
Hmm. All right. Thank you so much for your time on this podcast. And I really take your charge. And I believe other young people, the whole of Africa, also urge you and will take that charge to take up that responsibility. We don't wait for the government, really. We
Yeah.
have our parts to play, and we need to take up that responsibility.
Yes.
There are some things that we have seen that we are passionate about that we should start taking action.
Yeah.
Should start taking action. I think that's one of the things that we're going to pick from this conversation. You took action. Young people need to start taking action.
Yeah.
Do something. I think the first thing is to even ask yourself the question that what is it that you don't like? You know, there are a lot of things that we complain about. So pick one of them. I don't like this thing. So when you say you don't like something, it means you want the opposite. You want it to be
Yes.
changed. You want it to be
Yes.
solved. And then if after a very long time you see that this thing has remained the same, then I think you should do something about it.
Yes.
That means nobody's doing it. That means the people who are supposed to do it are not doing it. And because it affects you, you should take the lead. It might
Yeah.
not necessarily mean that you solve the problem. You might even be to speak to the person who is supposed to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Sometimes people need reminder.
Yes, actually. They
That-
need something to prick their conscience.
Yeah, so it might not have the money to do the job to solve that problem. You might even, get people to buy into your idea. Oh,
Yeah.
we want to, create a bridge here. You don't have the money to do it. You can meet people, can get partners that will also buy into that vision. So there are different ways that we can actually contribute to development. And that's my own charge also to young people. We are young, we are youthful, we have the energy, and we can, divert all of this into transformation, into change, and not just talking, but doing. And thank you so much once again for this time on this podcast. And I really enjoyed myself here. One, I'm inspired by what you have done. I've learned that you can actually use orange peels as mosquito repellent. That's innovative for me, and I'm going to start doing that. Because I do face, the battle every night with mosquitoes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
now I've been empowered with knowledge. I know how to deal with them now. Thank you so
Okay.
much for sharing this
Thank
knowledge.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
All right,
for
guys.
having
Thank
me.
you so much for joining us on this podcast. Until we meet again on another episode, I encourage you to continue to become useful as you are useful. Bye.